and welcome to A Drummer's Guide to, the podcast all about the things that it takes to be a professional musician aside from actually playing your instrument, which we're hopefully taking as a given. It's an endless journey, although isn't life, right? We're going to be all existential today. No, we're not going to be existential. But today, I would like to talk about probably the biggest thing that held me back from becoming a professional and from just, I suppose it's the biggest thing that held me back from getting to where I am right now. And although, you know, I'm all about the journey, man, but I would have liked to have got to this point quicker. And this is ironic because I literally just filmed an episode about patience. If you listen to that, you'll know that all I've done is to change my top and put on a necklace right now. Today is the same day, so I'm in a talky mood. Look, I did my makeup and everything. I thought I'm gonna make the most of this moment because this is not the thing. So the main thing that I think has held me back, or that had held me back, not now, really not now, and you'll know what I mean when I start talking about it, is this idea of embarrassment, or being embarrassed, or feeling embarrassed. Oh my goodness. So this has been a common theme for me long before the drums. Like, I remember in school, just that feeling of embarrassment was like the worst thing in the world. This kind of fear of looking stupid. And I, unfortunately, when I get embarrassed, or when I've been embarrassed, I think it's still the same, but I think people are kind enough not to mention it. And people that don't know me very well do mention it. And honestly, it's like I turned into a 7-year-old. I used to go really red when I was embarrassed, like, couldn't stop it. You know, I would sweat as well sometimes, depending on the level of embarrassment. And obviously kids would point it out because that's what kids do, which would make it worse, which would make me go even more red, which made me even more fearful of just this idea of, it was essentially just looking stupid, basically. But unfortunately, because of this, and you know, just that reaction, and you know, it's just a kid, and it is what it is. You know, we all go through various things that kind of condition us to be a certain way into our adult life. And unfortunately, this really stuck with me, and it kind of underpinned a lot of the decisions that I made early on in my career, or the areas that I chose not to venture into, if that makes sense, in my playing. So I will give you a few examples of how embarrassment, like fear of feeling embarrassed, or fear of looking stupid, actively kind of, I don't know, I guess it restricted me, for want of a better word. I feel like that's too mild a word, to be honest, in the opportunities I had. So the first that really springs to mind is this band called the Faders. Now, if you know me and Sharice, so I grew up with Sharice, I say we started playing drums on the same day. If you know me and Sharice, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, there was this audition for this band. It was an all-girl band. I was 17, I want to say, so still in school, and me and Sharice went to this audition. And because of my fear of embarrassment, like, because of my embarrassment, my fear of looking silly, basically, the way that I would play the drums is kind of, I would play, and, you know, I think for someone that was playing for 6 years at that point, I think I was playing pretty well. You know, me and Sharice, we did kind of like, I don't know, we were obsessed, so we were just trying to get better and better and better. So, you know, we could play the parts. There was not an issue with that, right? It was, what were the songs that we played? It was My Sharona, and it was I Want to Be Sedated. Those are the two songs I remember. But when I would play in any situation, I would just play the parts. I would be competent. I would do a good job. But I would be very small in my playing. I would be very small in my movements. It would never be more than what was needed, if that makes sense. And it's because I was so scared of looking stupid and feeling embarrassed that I would be enjoying it or into it, oh, God forbid I would actually be into what I was doing. I was just there. I was just there, like, don't look at me, I'm at the back, so don't look at me, sort of sketch. Let me tell you, being a young girl with blonde hair in the early 2000s, very difficult for people to not pay attention, because it was unusual at the time. It's not now, which is great, and I'm so happy about it. I can't even begin to tell you. But at that time, it was weird. It was very weird. So anyway, I remember going to this audition, and I'd learned I learned the songs. I knew I could play them fairly, well, I'd say. And anyway, went to this audition, played, whatever, came away from it, and Charisse auditioned as well. And then there were a bunch of other girls as well, a few that, in fact, it's just occurred to me. That's the first time I met the bass player I played with, Tricky. I'm pretty sure we met in the line. And I've just realised there's a weird resonance going on in this room. I'm going to have to EQ this out afterwards, because it's very like, it's down there. So anyway, we went and did this audition, came away from it, whatever, and found out that two of the drummers were in contention for the spot. And I thought, because we'd seen it like all the other people that had auditioned, and I thought, oh, well, it's me and Charisse, because it's always me and Charisse. It's always me and Charisse. Like, it's how it's always been, We're always in direct competition, and it's just, of course we are. We're both doing the same thing. We've both been playing the same amount of time. We're both doing it. But it was not, which was interesting. At the time, it was devastating. Long story short, Charisse ended up getting the gig and ended up going out with the Faders, which led to her working with Miko, which, anyway, that was her sort of origin story. But at the time, I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Why was it Charisse and another person? And I didn't get it. I get it now, and I will move into that why, but I didn't get it. Then there were other times. So me and Charisse were at, so many stories are me and Charisse. Me and Charisse were at a drum show. It was the London Drum, what did they call it? It was at Wembley Conference Centre, I'm almost certain. Anyway, we were walking around, and that year John Blackwell Jr. was playing, and he was kicking about, and me and Charisse, we talked to everyone. Let me tell you, we talked to everyone. Anyway, he was our new best friend that year. We decided. He didn't know, but we had decided. So we were chatting to him, whatever, and we were sort of walking around with him and a couple of other people, and he was like, hey, like, get on a kit, show me you're playing. And I froze. I was so scared that he would find out that I was no good and that I was not good enough, and I was so embarrassed and all of that I was like, oh no, like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Charisse, on the other hand, yeah, all right, and she went and she played, and I was so jealous of her in that moment that she did the thing, and my fear of looking stupid and feeling embarrassed overtook the situation. I was so annoyed at myself, and I, to this day, it's stupid. It's not like anything came of that moment, but I still regret it. I still regret it. How silly. Completely inconsequential moment. Well, I mean, you don't know for sure, but I'm gonna say. And as I say, this would extend to just playing gigs down in pubs, I would play small because I was so fearful of feeling embarrassed that I was, too into something and really committing to it, if that makes sense. I hope this does make sense, because it sounds very abstract if you haven't felt this yourself, like that thing of just really leaning into drumming and music and just being like, oh no, like I'm just here to play, I'm just here to do this, I'm just here, like, don't mind me, like basically not taking up space, and feeling embarrassed if someone would notice that I'm taking up space. I would feel embarrassed if I was doing a good job and someone gave me a compliment, and I'd just be like, oh no, well, I just hit things. And to be fair, I still say that, and it's not great. It's not a great reaction for many reasons. reasons. I'm working on it. It's a lifelong thing. But yeah, I would just, this fear of being embarrassed would mean that I would, it's not even that I do the bare minimum, because that makes it sound like I was doing the bare minimum in terms of how I would approach things, which is the opposite. I would do all the things so that I knew everything back to front, and there was no way, again, I could look stupid and feel embarrassed. But this also extended to, you know, being too showy, for instance, or, you know, like I say, being too big on stage and people noticing me. Like, that was such a big fear, because the only attention that I had gotten when I, well, not the only attention, that's an unfair statement, but the attention that I remember the most getting when I was a kid was negative, and it led to me going red in the face and being really embarrassed and just all that stuff. So I would minimize myself and try and disappear into the background in life so that I wouldn't be pointed out, and I wouldn't go red, and I wouldn't feel embarrassed, and I wouldn't be chastised for feeling embarrassed, and all that sort of stuff. It's an absolute nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. But we all have these things. We all have these things that we're conditioned into doing. And the thing is, like, everything has a duality, and it had its benefits, because it really made me just get my head down and do the thing, which is great. Like, yeah, it had its benefits that I still kind of benefit from now. But then I kind of I realized that there was a ceiling with this, essentially. I don't think I realized it at the time. Maybe I did. Maybe it was a gradual realization. But after I did one thing, I realized that, oh my gosh, this has been holding me back, like, severely. I have been holding myself back, and I've been angry at the world for not progressing in my career the way that I saw others progress, the way that I felt I should be progressing, because the ability was there. Like, it was, look, we've all got things we need to work on. I'm not perfect. There will always be something to work on, but I was at a standard where I was like, no, I know I can do the gig. I know I can do these gigs. Like, why isn't anyone calling me? I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. But anyway, it made sense after I did this one thing, which is, I'm getting annoyed because I didn't even do it myself. Well, I did, but it wasn't like, I didn't come up with this idea. And I've shared this story a few times. But basically, I went to a jam night. So I went to a jam night in the local area, and I got up and played a Foo Fighters song. And my sister was there, my parents were there. It was one of those nights where, like, all the people there, like, the musicians that were in the room were phenomenal. It was just such a great vibe. It was such a party. We had such a good time. It's one of the best days. That day I met, or evening I should say, that evening I met a lot of people that are big in my life now, have been in my life for a long time. And anyway, I played this song, and my sister was like, look, you should put that up online. And this was in 2010, I think. And so, like, putting stuff up on YouTube was the done thing. It was kind of like, it was fairly new, but she knew that there wasn't a lot of online presence of me playing, because I hadn't been doing gigs big enough to be filmed. If they were filmed, they were on phones, and back then phones are not great. I mean, these days phones not great in terms of sound and just projecting how I was as a player. You know, I was very lost. I couldn't show people what I could do unless I was in a room with them, but to get in a room with them was the struggle. That was the hard bit. But anyway, she said to me, look, you should film that. You should put that online. And after a bit of resistance, of course, I was like, all right, fair enough. So I just set up a bunch of cameras, and I filmed this video. Now, an interesting thing that happened with this video was, when I first filmed it, I was thinking, right, this is a video, so I need to make this, like, it should be performative. It's entertainment at the end of the day. Obviously, it needs to be well played, it needs to sound great. And by sound great, I don't mean sound quality, because I purposefully made it a little bit more lo-fi, because I didn't want people to accuse me of, like, doctoring anything. So it's lo-fi enough to be like, yeah, that's clearly you playing. Like, the first few notes are not where I wanted them to be, but I was like, do you know what? That's the human bit of me, and I think that's okay. Anyway, that's a whole another story for a whole another time. But what's interesting is that I filmed that a few times, and the first time I filmed it, I thought I was being outrageous in my performance. I thought that I was, being over the top. I thought it would look stupid. I was embarrassed. I had embarrassment. I had pre-embarrassment before I even watched the thing. But anyway, bear in mind, I was also wrapped in fairy lights. Yes, I know the irony of this. It's fine. I'm not embarrassed about the fairy lights. I was embarrassed about the performance side of it, and feeling like I was making these huge movements. I watched it back. I was like, this is boring. Like, who's going to watch me play for 4 minutes or whatever if I'm just playing? Like, who cares? Who cares? I don't even care. I'm the one watching it. I'm the one that's done it. But it was so much smaller than I thought. So anyway, I recorded it a few more times, and I'd already clocked onto this thing about me, that I really love lyrics, and the way that I find my way into songs and really embed myself into it is by singing lyrics. So I just went for it. I was like, do you know what? This is just going to be like, let's just see. I think it's really the first time that I really took on that thought process of, I'm just going to see. I'm just going to do it and see what happens. Like, what's the worst that could happen? It will get a bad response. Well, then I'll just take it down. It was like, this is so low stakes. I'm sure at the time it felt more high stakes than I'm putting it across now. But in retrospect, honestly, I put a video up. Ooh, big deal. But anyway, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the thing. So anyway, I re-recorded it, and obviously that video went up. It's still up if you want to see it. It's on the Count Me In Netflix documentary. It's the reason that the darkness got in touch with me. It's given me a lot of eyeballs, and do you know what? I wasn't embarrassed, and as soon as I put it up, I was getting these lovely comments and support and all of that, and I was like, oh wow. Actually, I'm not embarrassed. I feel proud. Like, this is interesting. This is interesting to me. And it was from that moment that I was like, maybe I need to commit to performing like this in everything that I do. And that doesn't mean big movements, because, if you're playing a ballad, that is not okay. We've all seen the video of the man that's playing that video, We've all seen the video of the man playing the ballad, and he's doing all the big, movements. It's just silly. That is silly. But it was from then I was like, do you know what? I shouldn't be embarrassed about the fact that I am into this, and I'm in it emotionally, and whatever that looks like, whether it is an energy thing, whether it is an anger thing, whether it is a love thing, whether it is a heartbreak thing, I am in it. And sometimes, I play songs and I'm in tears because I'm thinking of something that has happened, or someone that I've lost, or whatever. Or sometimes I'm screaming at the top of my lungs playing songs because I'm so angry about the thing that I'm thinking of in that song and the situation that I'm thinking of. And this kind of approach just completely changed not only my career trajectory, which it did, but my love of playing and playing live. It's like it was the missing link for me. And again, for me, it's lyrics. That's the thing that really opened me up to it. And look, don't get me wrong, I still have moments of like, oh God, I feel really embarrassed, or I'm going to be embarrassed, or, fear of looking stupid. I had it literally yesterday. I was so annoyed at myself. And then I got one message from a friend that I've known for a long, long time saying something really nice, who I would anticipate would be like, mate, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm an idiot. I'm still an idiot. But when I do feel those things, and like I say, yesterday was a weird one because I didn't anticipate it. It just kind of happened. I was like, oh, okay, I feel weird. Great. But something that really helps me when it comes to, if you're feeling embarrassed, like you're going to be embarrassed, or you don't want to do something for fear of looking stupid, that's what it comes down to for me. Fear of looking stupid. I started doing this thing where I started reframing what that means, and I did it. actually, I'll tell you when I first reframed stuff properly and it really made a difference was this podcast, because I was so scared that people would be like, well, who are you to be talking about anything? And you know, like, I don't agree with your experience, you know, you're stupid, or you're not good enough, or you're not a real professional, you know, all these things. I was terrified that all those things were going to happen. Or you're, you know, well, you're the only one who thinks that or went through that, which is ridiculous because we all go through these things. But I reframed it, and this is the thing that I tell myself when I feel that fear come in. I flip it on its head. And I mean, for the podcast, it was slightly different actually, because I was like, look, if this connects with one person, then it's been worth it. That's all I'm trying to do. That's literally all I'm trying to do. Even to this day, that's all I'm trying to do. I want to allow one person to feel less alone and make them feel like this career thing is possible, because it is. Because I know that I sit here and you may have your preconceived ideas about me and my journey and all of that, but when I tell you that I am a normal girl from North London who probably shouldn't have been able to do this, and it's just, you know, for various reasons I get to sit here and I want to share how I believe I've done that, how that's happened, the struggles that have come with it, which there will be for everyone. If you're struggling, sorry, that's part of it. And yeah, so that was that, but I'm going to put it into an even sillier situation. Low stakes. Well, now I believe it's low stakes. At the time, it would be like the height of embarrassment because it's real life. That is, right, dancing at a wedding. Look, I can move a little bit. I can't dance. I become very self-aware, not in a good way, and I'm like, my limbs just suddenly just don't know what they're doing, you know. And obviously, I have rhythm. It exists in my body, in my DNA, and yet I often feel really stupid when I'm going to dance, and it's a source of embarrassment for me. But I started thinking of it like this. I was like, right, if I get up there and I look stupid. By the way, this is also assuming the fact that everyone's looking at me. No one cares. No one cares about me getting on a dance floor, unless I'm the only one in the middle, which I'm not sure I've done that, but I've certainly been one of not many. But yeah, I just thought, right, if I get up there and I look stupid and someone looks at me and goes, oh my God, they look stupid. Oh, well then I can get up and dance because, you know, I won't look as stupid as them. To me, that's a win. And I'm like, if I facilitated that, I'll take the hit. I don't care about looking stupid in that respect. It's the same with like any drumming videos I put up. Look, the majority of the videos that I put up, I'm not 100% happy with. No, not even slightly. I'm like, this is flawed. I can tell you every note that I'm not happy with. I mean, it's fine for me. I'm a work in progress. I will always try and get better. But if someone, for instance, comments and says, you know, that sounds rubbish, I'm better than you. If that makes them then take action on that and believe that they can do something and then do it, that's brilliant. Like, I'm here for it. I'm literally here for it. I don't care. Abuse me as you want. I don't care. I literally don't care. But if you take that action and it leads you to something that will make your life more fulfilling and hopefully give you a little more confidence to come back and realize that I probably shouldn't be talking to people like that, and actually, like, you know, just have respect for people for what they're doing, more power to you. I'm literally, I will be your cheerleader. I will. I know that probably sounds completely backwards and ridiculous, but it's how it is. And yeah, if I can facilitate that by looking stupid for a minute or feeling embarrassed for a minute, that's all right. I'll take it. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, it's such an interesting thing once you kind of let go of that sense of embarrassment, and whether you, like I say, talk yourself round in a way of reframing it, or whether it's just like challenging it head on. For me, it allowed me to really like lean into who I am as a person. And I speak about this a lot. Like, I am someone who goes all in everything that I do. Like, I do not take anything on unless I have the energy, the time, and the willingness to give everything that I have. It's how I'm built. And whether that's, you know, on a gig, you know, if I say yes to a gig, like a tour, I'm not just saying yes to say the 2 months on the road. I'm saying yes to a month beforehand where I will be drilling those songs. I will be looking up all of the live shows. I will be seeing what past drummers have done, what I like, what I want to take on, you know, respecting the fact that there needs to be a bridge between who I am as a player and who their last drummer was as a player, and kind of try and make the transition easier. You know, I go all in. I want to know all the lyrics. I am bringing my own stories to the song so that I can like really connect into it. I'm then doing performance, making sure that I know the stuff well enough, that I'm relaxed enough that I can then actually perform too. So I'm not just a person who go, yeah, I'll just do that. It's the same with my students. Oh my God, I go hard. Someone said to me the other day, like, I really enjoyed our session, but it really is not for the faint-hearted. And I think, yeah, do you know what? That is the most accurate thing to say about how working with me is, because I care so deeply. I really do. I just give I'm the same in relationships. I give everything I physically can, and it's something that I've had to watch myself actually, because I do, it's to my detriment in terms of energy levels sometimes, and obviously sometimes it's not reciprocated in the same way, and sometimes I can get hurt, but you know what, I don't care. Same with this podcast. I'll give you everything that I have. I literally, like, I am an open book. I am a vulnerable mess of a human, but I don't care. I want you to see it because I think it's important. I think it's important in this kind of like Instagram perfection, perfect culture, that someone, or I'm saying this like I'm the only one, there's plenty of people that are just going, do you know what? No, I am flawed. This is a problem. This is what I've struggled with. You know, it's okay to not be perfect, and I am that person. But ever since I started sort of like really leaning into that sort of thing of just being unashamedly who I am, the opportunities that have arisen for me, I think that's the right word, have been so much more in line with who I am as a player, as a person. The people that I get to be around are just, they're magical. There's no other word for it. They are magical. Like, yeah, the more that this life goes on and the more that I just go, hey, who's this geek over here? How you doing? Nice to meet you. There are just other people that just come in and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're weird like me. This is fun. We can be friends. And like I say, it's the same with gigs. Look at The Voice Kids. Perfect example. Like, terrifying gig. Absolutely I was terrified coming into that gig. But after 4 years, I was like, do you know what? This is the most perfect gig for me in terms of my personality. The people on it are some of my favourite people, and they have some of the greatest personalities. They are weird, they are wonderful, and they are funny. They are so funny. But, you know, things like this podcast, obviously, now that I'm doing all this coaching stuff, like the students that come to me, they're often people, for instance, that have listened to this podcast, like you. And I feel like if you're listening this much, there must be things about me and you right now that are similar. And I love that, because there's kind of a starting point of understanding and a way of communicating that is so beautiful, that makes it that we're already friends as soon as we talk. Like, so many people that reach out to me, the first time we'll jump on a call for a session, and it's like we're already old mates. It's so good. It's my favourite thing, and I'm just like, oh, you're like me, you're weird, this is cool. But what's great about that is that I get the, you know, those little quirks and stuff. I know how to leverage them, because it is the quirks, it's the oddities about us that are the things that make the difference, I believe. That's what I believe, at least. And I do also believe that people that are in alignment with who you are will come into your life. In like, the more that you're yourself, the more you will find yourself surrounded by people who maybe think in a similar way to a degree, or just, I don't know, there's a thing about it fitting. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously these things can become dangerous with things like echo chambers, with these sort of, I want to say peripheral kind of mad views that people have, but a lot of them are becoming more mainstream, which is quite terrifying, and actually making people less connected to each other, which scares me, because all I want is for everyone to be connected and realise that we're all the same, and please look after each other. But anyway, that's another story for another time, I guess. Not that I have a story, I don't know the answer. But I wrote down this quote, so I think I made it up. I don't know, but I was so proud of it. I wrote it down because I want to finish the episode on this. So, question to ask yourself, right? So, would you rather be a poor imitation of someone else or a pure imitation of yourself? No, not imitation, a pure version of yourself. Oh, for crying out loud. I was so close. I was so close. Right, let me try again. Right. Would you... I'm an idiot. See, I'm a geek, I'm an idiot, and my brain falls out of my head a lot of the time. Right. Would you rather be a poor imitation of someone else or a pure version of yourself? Tell me. I know which one I am, for sure, whether I like it or not. I continually, what's the word? Promise to myself that I will be myself. And I have moments where I might filter a bit or mask a little bit, but that's kind of old habits, I think. No, I know, it's old habits and it's safety. But I will always come back to being who I am because I can't help it. I literally can't help it. It just is what it is. It is what it is. And do you know what? It's brought you here with me and I'm really happy about that. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope that this has helped in some way. And if you do feel embarrassed, look, it's not that embarrassing. And do you know what? Just face it head on. Literally take an action that will actively challenge that embarrassment. And I guarantee you. Oh, that's the other thing I used to be embarrassed about, talking. If you got me, one of my, in fairness, this is still a fear of mine. I still have, which is ironic. This is going to sound so stupid. So, biggest stress, biggest going red situation, biggest sweating, feeling it going down my back because I'm sweating so much. Situation would be, and I'm visualizing this right now, being in English in secondary school and being asked to read aloud. Oh my God, that is the worst. Or getting up and making a speech of some kind because we had to. The worst. And yet, look at me. Look at me. I'm talking and talking and talking. And as far as I'm aware, I haven't gone red yet. I don't think. But anyway, you probably wouldn't see because I've got a little bit of makeup on. But it's just funny how things work out. It really is. And actually, by trying to avoid that embarrassment, I think I've really lost out on a lot of opportunities. I really believe that. I do. To the bottom of my heart, I believe that. But once I started stepping into it and actually, for instance, the embarrassment of public speaking, for instance, once I challenged that a little bit, and I did that with my very first videos, the Ask M series on YouTube, which is still there. They're just short little videos, me answering questions. I've opened up this whole part of my world that I adore, probably the most out of everything that I do in my life, and this is saying a lot. I love drumming. It is part of my being. It is part of my DNA. However, there is one thing that is bigger than that for me, and that is helping other people. And it's been like that since I was a child, long before I picked up the sticks. And I don't know why that is. I have an inkling why that might be. But it feeds my soul in a way that it makes me feel emotional even thinking about it. And I wouldn't have found this if I'd have let the embarrassment of looking stupid or, not wanting to do any sort of public speaking. If I had allowed that to inform what I was doing, I wouldn't have found this, and I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And the thought of not being able to do this and help people is just potentially heartbreaking to me. It really is, because it really is the greatest joy of my life. It really is. Anyway, I love you. Leave you on that point. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do feel free to like, share and subscribe. And if you would like to find out any other tips about being a professional musician, being a session musician, go over to my Instagram. It's the place to be at the moment. That's where I'm kind of putting a lot of my content and just sharing a whole bunch of stuff in very little short form kind of things. You can also reach out to me over there if you want to come onto my Session Musician Accelerator program, where I basically, it's a 3-month program where I will help you with every aspect of what it takes to be a session musician, make sure that we plug up the holes that might be keeping you back, that you might not even realize it, like this embarrassment thing, and excel you into going full time with it if you're not already, or moving into that space if you're not already and you want to be in the session musician world. There's no sort of like path to get there in terms of, it's not like a normal job. It's kind of a mishmash of a bunch of stuff, but you've got to make sure that all the elements are in place and they're working well, and then just put in your energy into the right places, and that's what this accelerator program does. Anyway, reach out to me over there. Anyway, we can chat more. We can get on a call and chat. But I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, whatever you're up to. I am going to take a little coffee break, and then I'm going to change my t-shirt once again. I think we're going to go for the white t-shirt next. And then I'm going to record another episode, because today is filming day and I have energy, although I'm getting a coffee, so maybe not quite as much energy as I would hope. But I hope you're keeping well. Sending you lots and lots of love, and I will speak to you soon. All right. Bye.